whole range of things really. And I suppose the first thing to say is people have been fantastic. I mean, the welcome in Leeds has been incredible. People were very supportive, very positive about the future, and totally committed to improving things for children and young people across the city of Leeds. And that's what we've been working on really. How do we organise ourselves in a way that we can be sure we can use the resources available and mobilise the city to improve the life chances of 180,000 children and young people? That's the big challenge, and that's the thing we have to hold ourselves to account for. And in statute, if you want to look at it that way around, we have a duty to safeguard and promote the welfare of children, and we will be held to account by children and young people themselves and by external inspectors, etc., etc. But most importantly, we'll hold ourselves to account about can we demonstrate we're making a difference to the lives of children. So being very clear about the outcomes, the things we want to achieve for children and young people in Leeds, and then measuring ourselves against that and using a whole variety of techniques to make that very clear and transparent. That's how we'll know whether or not we've made a difference. I mean, you can get into situations where you put a huge amount of effort into all sorts of activity, but it's very hard to be clear that you've made a blind bit of difference to the lives of a child or a group of children or a particular community. I think we've got to be much more transparent and much more open and much more accountable about that to ourselves, but most importantly to the public and to children and young people in particular. We're looking at an integrated children's service, which sounds very grand, but basically it means can we bind all of children's services together? At the moment, we've been working on a model that's had Education Leeds as a separate entity, and it's done a huge service for children and young people across the city of Leeds. And then you've had a separate local authority structure for a whole range of other children's services. And the move now, the immediate move, is to amalgamate Education Leeds back with the local authority's children's services under a director of children's service, under a lead member for children's services, as reflected in the statute. So the shape starts to dictate itself when you look at that particular remit. Beyond that, you're looking at, on a city the size of Leeds, 180,000 children and young people, and the geography of Leeds, you're looking at a small leadership team at the centre of that activity, and a leadership structure that then supports a locality-based delivery of services where they mean the most to children and young people, which is in their local communities and in their particular settings. I think people will see immediately, and hopefully people have seen already, a set of behaviours where we are beginning to work as one leadership team. And we are in difficult times at the moment. We're in the middle of a series of budget pressures. We're also in the middle of invoking the political decision for Education Leeds to merge back with the local authority. Add into that the change in national political context, the change in policy direction, etc., etc. So there's a whole range of things that are happening around children's services that mean we have to move at speed to try and get ourselves on the front foot in terms of our aspirations for children and young people across the city. So we're working on that at the moment. People should feel the difference that there is the start of a single leadership team. We've all moved together on one floor of the Merrion Centre, and we're on floor 7 there, whereas before we were split on several floors. So physically the conversations are a little bit easier, and we are meeting Monday, Wednesday, Friday on a regular basis to talk about what needs to happen out in localities, out in particular areas, and how the rest of that structure will start to roll forward. So what people will see are a set of discussions and a set of papers coming forward with the broad framework of a new integrated children's service and what it starts to look like, what the outcomes are, what the priorities are, what the key framework structure looks like, and they should be able to see roughly where they sit within that overall structure, bearing in mind we've got further negotiations about the impending budget pressures that we face and what the new shape of the service is going to look like in reality. we have a job of work to do at the moment in trying to get our own house in order, if you like, in building that integrated children's service. But I hope children and young people will start to pick up some very simple messages about a commitment to children and young people in Leeds, a commitment to hearing the voice of children and young people in Leeds, and a commitment to them having a say in terms of the future shape and development of the service. I hope they start to pick up debates that will be going on around the city, around the idea of a child-friendly city, around this idea of disproportionately investing in children and young people now as part of a clear economic regeneration tactic for the city of Leeds. And not only is it the right thing to do to improve things for children and young people, but it's the right thing to do at this moment in time, I believe, for a city like Leeds to invest in the future and the future leaders of Leeds and the future movers and shakers of Leeds, who can have a massive say in the long-term sustainability of the future of Leeds as a city. Well, crikey. At the moment, the snow and the ice and everything, lots of things keep you awake. I mean, if you start with a fundamental challenge, which is to safeguard and promote the welfare of children, and then you add into that you're talking about 180,000 children, and then you add into that the number of professionals who day in, day out touch the lives of children, how you can be assured that we're doing everything that we should be doing across a city the size of Leeds, across the scale in terms of the numbers of children, the number of families that we're actually talking about. Getting that right, or as near to right as you can, is something at this moment in time, because we're in that developmental phase, keeps me awake at night. But it doesn't keep me awake at night worrying that we're going to get it all wrong and it's going to be a complete disaster. What keeps me awake at night is, can we do it at the speed we need to do it so that it can have the maximum impact on the lives of children? You know, if we think about in terms of, well, in 6 months' time or in 12 months' time, that's a huge amount of time in the life of a child. And particularly when you look at children at different ages, you know, 6 months is an eternity to a 2, 3, 4-year-old. And means maybe different things to somebody through their teenage years. But what we know, if we are serious about improving outcomes for children, then time is of the essence, and there's a huge amount to do, and we're having to do it at speed. So that's the sort of thing that worries me. I suppose people might think this is an easy thing for me to say, but I do understand people's concerns, and I do understand the anxiety that's around. As I've said, there's a number of things that are coming together at the same time. So not just the re-amalgamation of Education Leeds and the local authority, add into that the budget pressures, add into that the national policy change, etc. There is uncertainty. And I know that despite all the brilliant work that's going on across Leeds and people's genuine commitment to improve things for children, and there are some amazing things happening across the city, people naturally are going to worry about, well, what does it mean for me? And what does it mean for my post and my position and my service? And the honest answer to that at this moment in time is, we don't know. We don't know for a variety of reasons. We don't know because we haven't finished the conversations with everybody about what the future shape of the workforce is going to look like and the service configuration. We don't know because we haven't got all the detail and all the information nationally in terms of the budget pressures and the money that's available, what grants are going to appear in what form, etc. There's lots of issues about money that's going to disappear or not be available in the future, but there's also information about new money and new grants and new opportunities that are available, which we just don't understand at the moment. So whoever you are in children's services and whatever you're doing, I'd urge you to keep up the good work and keep doing what you do, and we will try and get that clarity of information to you as soon as we can. And we do want as many people as possible to be part of that conversation about what a service is going to look like in the future.